What if you could download a new skill into your brain like a file on a computer? While we aren't in the Matrix yet, your brain has a built-in superpower called neuroplasticity that allows it to physically rewire itself. The problem is, most people try to learn by repeating things until they are bored, which actually tells the brain to shut down. Today, I'm showing you the scientific protocol to trigger massive brain growth and upgrade any skill in half the time. The skill gap. Why traditional learning feels so slow and painful. Facts line up quickly. Traditional learning often feels slow and painful because it moves through lots of information without turning it into usable skill. The brain doesn't store the world as one big file. It builds small, interconnected pathways. When you rely on reading or listening alone, those pathways stay shallow. Real skill comes from practice that makes the right moves automatic. The brain highway needs repeated trips to carve new lanes. When you try the task and it goes wrong, your brain signals a mismatch. That signal isn't punishment, it's information guiding the next move. Many courses lean on exposure rather than active shaping. You can recognize something on a page and still stumble when you try it for real. Recognition isn't mastery. Retrieval, on the other hand, strengthens memory and helps you transfer learning to new situations. So the skill gap widens in settings that test infrequently or delay feedback. In practice, you learn fastest when you pull knowledge out, test yourself, and correct errors in the moment. The mind loves short, sharp loops of effort where mistakes teach something useful. Sleep matters. The mental software update happens when you rest after practice. The brain packs new skills into durable programs during quiet periods. That's why a quick practice session followed by sleep often makes a tricky passage feel easier the next day. Rest isn't passive. It's a crucial partner to effort. Consolidation happens best when you give the brain a chance to reorganize what just happened. You wake up with a cleaner route through the same terrain. To close the gap, practice in a way that mirrors real use and keeps the brain honest. Break skills into small, meaningful chunks and chase immediate feedback. Design practice with constraints that force higher quality, not just longer effort. Use retrieval rather than rereading, and mix in quick tests that reveal gaps. When you stumble, treat it as data, not defeat. Picture the brain highway rerouting a little every time you adjust. Picture the error signal lighting up, telling you where to steer next. Picture the mental software update quietly installing better versions of your approach. Struggle is not the enemy. It is the sound of learning, a signal that your brain is rewiring in real time. Stay with it, and the gap narrows in honest, practical steps. Brain Rewiring 101, a simple look at how your mind physically changes. Neurons form new connections when you practice a skill. The brain is a living network, and its wiring changes with use. Tiny structures called dendritic spines grow and shrink as signals hop from one neuron to another. This is neuroplasticity, the core reason you can get better at anything with practice. Practice also reshapes maps in the brain. The areas that control the muscles you use most become more refined and take up more space in the cortical map. White matter, the brain's communication highways, thickens along frequently traveled routes. Signal speed improves as myelin wraps around nerve fibers, like upgrading a road from gravel to a smooth highway. The brain highway becomes faster and more direct with repeated travel. Learning works through feedback. The error signal tells your brain when a move doesn't match your goal, and dopamine reinforces the next try. With accurate feedback, you adjust your internal model and your actions align with reality. Each error isn't a setback, it's a sign the brain is updating its mental software update. Sleep helps consolidate these changes, turning quick practice into lasting skill. Turn this into a practical plan. Start with a clear, small goal and break it into chunks your brain can digest. Practice the toughest parts first, then loop back to the easier bits to build confidence. Focused, deliberate repetition in short sessions beats long, unfocused efforts. Get immediate feedback, adjust, and repeat. Mix variations so you're not stuck in a single habit loop, and space sessions so the brain has time to consolidate. When struggle shows up, welcome it. That sound is the brain's way of telling you learning is happening. The brain rewires itself as you push through friction, making the next attempt faster and smoother, like a personal upgrade rolling through your day. The magic of mistakes. Why your brain only grows when you fail. Your brain grows most when the world doesn't hand you the answer on a silver platter. Predictions form a map in your head, and surprises push you to update it. Each mistake lights up the error signal, a quiet alarm that tells you something in your mental model no longer fits reality. Like a road crew rerouting a highway, neural pathways adjust when the plan and the result diverge. The brain highway carries practice signals that reinforce what works and prune what doesn't. When you train, you install a mental software update, refining the rules your brain uses to act next time. Mistakes are not failures, they are data. The moment you hit a wrong note, a chunk of your brain wakes up and rechecks the model. The struggle is the sound of learning, a signal that your brain is listening and wants a better answer. That sound triggers tiny adjustments in circuits that predict what comes next. Over time, repeated corrections make the next attempt smoother. The idea is simple. Every error is a cue to revise the mental software. To leverage this, design practice that invites informative errors. Break the skill into bite-sized chunks and practice each until the errors shrink. When you finish a run, note what failed and why. The better you label the error, the faster you fix it. Use immediate feedback to close the loop. Slow the tempo enough to hear the mismatch, and consider recording yourself or using an app that shows where your timing or form goes off. A mentor or coach who points to the exact gap makes the signal louder and the update faster. Practice with variation and real context so the rule sticks across situations, not just in a single moment. Sleep plays a quiet but powerful role in this process. After a tough practice, the brain rehearses what went wrong and blends it into your existing map. The next day, you're a bit more capable because the mental software update has landed in your memory networks. Then comes spaced repetitions and occasional rechallenges in new settings, which strengthen the pathways that carry the skill forward. Mistakes become the fuel for rapid improvement, and struggle sounds like progress when you know what to listen for. The more you treat errors as data, the quicker you rewrite your brain's software for any skill. The error signal: how to trigger the chemical state for fast learning. The brain constantly tests its predictions. The moment your action outcome diverges from your expectation, an error signal lights up neural circuits. This signal sets off a cascade of neurochemical changes that sharpen learning. Think of the brain like a road system. When you miss a turn, warning lights flash and traffic reroutes. That warning is not a sign of failure. It's a trigger for quick repair and upgrade. Dopamine plays a key role here. It carries the reward prediction error, the difference between what you thought would happen and what actually happened. When things go a bit differently than planned, dopamine helps your brain adjust, nudging the right connections to grow stronger. Acetylcholine steps in to sharpen attention and highlight new information that's worth learning. Norepinephrine tunes arousal so you stay alert to signals that matter. Together with brain-derived neurotrophic factor, these chemicals open a window of plasticity, a moment when your circuits are especially ready to rewire. The result is faster, more durable changes in how you move, think, or solve problems. The mental software update happens in real time, while you sweat through a challenge and then reset. The error signal isn't a villain, it's the engine of progress. In practice, you're not waiting for perfect outcomes. You're chasing adaptive adjustments. When you practice a new skill, you set expectations and then watch for mismatches. A slightly off rhythm in a piano passage, a wrong grip in a tennis swing, a stubborn bug in code, all are signals that your brain can learn from. In a motor task, a small mismatch triggers tighter control in the motor cortex and better coordination in the next attempt. In cognitive tasks, an unexpected wrong answer or a failed recall sharpens your retrieval paths, making the correct answer easier to access next time. The more precise the feedback about errors, the more targeted the adjustments become. To trigger the error signal effectively, design practice that keeps the brain in a sweet spot of challenge. Create tasks that are just beyond your current skill level, so mistakes happen regularly but safely. Provide rapid, explicit feedback that says, in clear terms, what was off and why it matters. Use self-tests and quizzes that catch gaps in knowledge early, not after hours of work. Break complex skills into microelements and practice them with immediate checks. Track your errors not as failures but as data points to map to specific corrections. A quick video review of a swing or a solver's step-by-step process can illuminate where the brain went wrong and how to fix it. Pair practice with deliberate reflection. After a session, jot down the top 3 mistakes and the single best fix you'll try next time. The moment you feel the struggle, hear the sound of learning. That tension signals the brain is updating its internal map. Keep the pressure moderate and purposeful, not paralyzing. Short bursts of effort with fast feedback create the right emotional arousal for plasticity. Sleep helps seal the updates. A night of rest consolidates the new connections you've started to form. If you push too hard for too long, The noise of stress can shut down the flexible windows and slow progress. Balance effort with recovery, and you keep the error signal clean and useful. Think of the brain highway as a lane that strengthens with each accurate correction, turning little detours into faster routes over time. A concrete daily flow helps make this real. Warm up with a simple task you know you'll likely miss, then chase a quick correct answer and compare it to your aim. Record the exact moment of error and the one-step fix you'll try next. Repeat cycles of attempt, error, adjust, and reattempt until you feel the ideas clicking more smoothly. In language work, for example, you might practice pronunciation and immediately compare your sound to a model, then practice the corrected mouth position. In coding, you run a test, read the failure message, and adjust a small snippet before testing again. In sports, you measure the feeling of the partner's tempo, notice where your timing slips, and adjust your stance or swing in the next try. Each loop reinforces the right connections and trims away the wrong ones. When you embrace the error signal as a partner rather than an opponent, you unlock rapid skill growth. The brain highway becomes a smoother road as the mental software updates land more reliably. Struggle becomes not a barrier but a sign you're on the right track, a signal that your system is actively rewiring. With clear feedback just below your ability challenges and timely reflection, the body and mind begin to learn faster, one corrected step at a time. Focus windows. Why 90 minutes is the biological limit for deep growth. Your brain runs in ultradian rhythms, cycles of energy that hover around a 90-minute window when you're awake. That window is where deep growth tends to happen, when your circuits are most ready to rewire. After that stretch, focus tends to fade and mistakes sneak in more easily. Think of it as the brain highway. You get a smooth lane for a while, then you hit a dip and need a break to reset. If you stay in the same lane too long, your speed drops and you miss exits. Short, deliberate pauses keep the ride smooth and fast. During that 90-minute focus burst, the brain's attention system is doing heavy lifting. You're pulling from working memory, maintaining goal direction, and shaping new connections. The error signal flickers as you test your approach and stumble on roadblocks. Each misstep isn't a sign of failure, it's dietary fuel for learning. Struggle is the sound of learning, a natural cue that your brain is calibrating. You don't fight it, you listen to it, adjust course, and press on. The mental software update you're installing happens in small, repeated attempts, not in a single heroic sprint. When you notice a gap, you tweak the method and try again within the same window. To make the 90-minute block work, you design for the biology, not against it. Start with a clear microgoal for the block, one precise piece of the skill, one specific cue, one recyclable pattern. Create an environment that minimizes interruptions. Quiet space, single focus tasks, notifications off, a timer in view. Begin with a brief warm-up that primes your system, then dive into the target work. Treat the timer as a boundary, not a whip. When it rings, you stop, not when you're exhausted. The break is a chance to reset. Stand, stretch, step outside, breathe, and let your brain descend from high alert to a calmer state. After the break, you do a quick debrief and encode a mental software update. What exactly changed? What helped? What to adjust next time? Sleep then acts as the night shift for your rewiring, consolidating what you practiced and turning it into smoother automatic responses. Real-world use makes this clear. A musician may focus on a tricky arpeggio for a 90-minute block, then switch to slow, deliberate repetition of the same motif, followed by a short improvisation that applies the pattern in a new context. A programmer blocks off time to design, test, and refine a single function, logging each error signal and adjusting the approach before the window ends. A writer picks a stubborn sentence, works through variations, reads aloud, and then captures a revised line for later integration. In each case, the 90-minute window gives enough time to challenge the brain, collect meaningful feedback, and push the skill a little further, while the breaks provide space for consolidation and reset. The pattern isn't about forcing long hours. It's about riding the natural tempo of learning and letting each block do real, visible work on your skill. The power of visualization, practicing in your head to move your muscles. Visualizing a movement lights up the same brain areas you use when you actually move. The motor cortex, promoter regions, and the cerebellum become active during vivid mental rehearsal, so your brain rehearses the plan even without the body delivering a single muscle contraction. That is good news for quick skill gains. The brain highway metaphor fits here. Roots in your brain get stronger with use, even when you sit still. When visualization is vivid, it stirs sensory details, feel of the grip, the tempo of breath, the sightline of the eyes. The brain uses an error signal to tune actions. Mental rehearsal narrows the gap between the intended movement and the plan your body has ready to execute, so when you actually move, the mismatch is smaller. That smoother start reduces wasted cycles and keeps you in flow. This is the mental software update. Your internal model gets rewritten to match what you intend to do. When you do move, you still see the errors, and you use them as feedback to tighten the plan rather than to criticize yourself. Begin with a clear, vivid goal. Next, build a scene in your mind that uses all senses: the grip, the rhythm, the environment, the sounds around you. Go slow at first, then speed up in your mind. Rehearse in chunks and link them with a mental bridge, so the sequence feels natural. For a tennis serve, picture the toss, the coil of the shoulder, the racket swing, and the instant contact with the ball. For a piano scale, imagine each fingertip landing on the keys, the wrist supple, the pedal releasing at just the right moment. Pair the imagery with physical practice, then add variability, different speeds, different angles, different pressures. Notice how small adjustments in the imagined cues change the feel in your body when you try it again. Visualization works best as a complement, not a replacement for actual practice. If you are tired or temporarily unable to move, mental rehearsal keeps the motor map alive and flexible. Make it a habit to run a brief mental rehearsal before each practice session and again afterward to consolidate the plan. Use the brain's error signal to guide tweaks, not to punish yourself. Struggle is the sound of learning. With this approach, you turn quiet thinking into tangible skill. The sleep connection: why skills are actually built while you are dreaming. During sleep, your brain actively reorganizes and strengthens recent learning. Slow-wave sleep helps solidify factual and procedural memories, while REM sleep supports the refinement of skills and the integration of what you learned with broader knowledge. Dreams often reflect the brain's replay, but the real work happens in quiet neural rehearsals you don't need to remember to gain the benefit. This is the brain highway in action. The hippocampus hands memories to the cortex during sleep, and the traffic shift from a temporary storage site to a broader network makes future retrieval smoother. The brain rewires these connections behind the scenes, pruning noise and linking related ideas. The explicit how-to of a skill becomes a smoother, more automatic pattern, like a route that no longer requires a map. The error signal you feel during practice isn't wasted. It fuels offline adjustments as the night goes on, reducing errors in the days after you wake. Think of sleep as a mental software update. It rewrites the rules your brain uses to perform a skill, integrating it with other abilities you already have. If you're learning a new guitar chord, for example, sleep helps chunk the finger movements into a fluid sequence. If you're mastering a sport move, sleep ducks cognitive load by turning deliberate steps into streamlined instincts. The result is not a dream state show, but a quiet optimization that makes what you did today feel a little easier tomorrow. To leverage this, pair practice with good sleep hygiene and deliberate timing. Train with focus on the target skill, then give your brain time to process by heading toward rest rather than rushing into new tasks. A brief nap after intense practice can boost consolidation, especially if you avoid caffeine late and keep a consistent sleep schedule. If possible, use a subtle cue during practice, like a particular sound or a scent that you also introduce during rest. The brain can link the cue to the learning and nudge replay in sleep. Remember, the struggle you feel while practicing is the sound of learning. Sleep turns that noise into a clearer, faster skill the next day. The Fast Track Protocol, a simple 3-step routine to upgrade any skill. Your brain rewires itself when you practice a skill, a process we call neuroplasticity. The Fast Track Protocol is a simple 3-step routine built to ride that wave and turn repeated effort into reliable progress. Think of the brain as the brain highway. Every deliberate practice session adds speed bumps and guardrails that guide you toward a cleaner route to accuracy. Step 1. Decode the target and map subskills. Start with the exact outcome you want, not a fuzzy feeling of getting better. Then break it into tiny, solvable pieces. The brain highway likes clear exits and small signs. Write down a checklist of microskills and pick one you can practice today. For a language, you might start with a single sound or a common word pair. For a guitar player, a particular frethand shape. For a code learner, a small function and its edge cases. This is the moment you install a precise GPS for your learning journey. Step 2. Practice with the error signal. Practice with focus, in short bursts, and seek immediate feedback. The error signal is the brain's compass. Compare the result to the plan and adjust. If you miss a target, slow down, replay the action, and isolate the misstep. Use tools like a metronome, a timer, or a coach to give you a clear readout. You might practice a chord progression until the first 2 transitions are clean, then push to include a third. Struggle is the sound of learning, a sign that your circuits are tuning. Vary the context just enough to stop your performance from hinging on one exact setup. Step 3. Consolidate and automate with rest, retrieval, and real-world use. After practice, the brain needs downtime to stitch the gains. Sleep helps with mental software update, turning fresh patterns into smooth habits. Retrieve the skill from memory, not just the reflex of muscles. Spaced review and real tasks keep the skill sharp across days and situations. Build triggers in your environment that cue you to use the skill, so it becomes automatic rather than a task you have to remember. With this step, the new pattern moves from a fragile try to a steady routine on the brain highway. Your brain is not fixed. You are the architect of your mind. Your brain rewires itself when you practice. Neuroplasticity is the brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. The brain highway idea shows how roots in your brain become sturdier the more you travel them. When you repeat a task, signals along those routes move faster and with fewer detours. Mistakes trigger the error signal, nudging you to adjust your approach. Over time, the network shifts from clumsy to fluent, and you gain the capacity to adapt to related tasks without starting from scratch. With each focus moment, you experience a mental software update, swapping outdated shortcuts for smoother, more efficient ways of thinking and acting. To use this the right way, start with a precise goal and a clear constraint. Pick one skill and commit to a minimal, doable practice routine every day. Break the skill into small, bite-sized chunks, and attack the first chunk until it becomes reliable. Practice with intention. Slow, careful representatives first, then, only after solid accuracy is established, bring in speed. Rely on retrieval practice. Quiz yourself, explain a concept aloud, or try to reproduce a step from memory, rather than just running through the motions. Seek quick feedback, because the brain tunes itself through error signals you can notice and act on. Sleep matters, too. During rest, memories consolidate, and the new connections settle into your long-term map. The environment matters as well. A clean, consistent practice spot and a regular routine reduce friction and keep your brain highway open. Struggle isn't the enemy. It's the sound of learning. When you push into a tough drill or a tangled problem, you're prompting real rewiring, not wasting time. Welcome small frictions, a shaky first attempt, a stubborn error, a hesitation before you commit. Each of these moments lights up the truth that you're changing something inside. Short, focused sessions beat long, endless loops, because they give you more opportunities for the error signal to guide you. Vary drills a little, return to them, and you'll notice the fog lifting as the mental models start to click. You'll also notice that what once felt hard becomes a new baseline, and your confidence grows from the pattern of consistent, imperfect progress.